Hello, and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. We've done a couple of pretty rough restorations lately. Well, this gem here is no exception. This is a Hot Wheels show-off. Now, as you can see, I've definitely got my work cut out for me here. But we're going to go ahead and restore this. And it's really hard to see, but the original color was a red opaque enamel, and we're going to bring it back to its original condition. Now, of course, we'll have to do some wheel swaps and polish some things up, find an engine for it, fix the windshield if possible, or get a different one, and see what kind of how rough the interior is. Well, go ahead and grab your favorite adult beverage, and let's get started with this restoration of a Hot Wheels show-off. Come on and join me. I drilled the car apart. Now, like I said, this thing is incredibly rough. I had to peel off a lot of those decals just to get the windshield out. Man, that's a interesting decal job. Like I said, the original color was red. We're going to restore it to the original red. Now, the posts are narrow, and this one in the front is super, super short. But we'll do the best with it we can. Here's the base. The base itself is in pretty rough shape too. We're going to have to go ahead and clean that off and polish it up. This base here also matches a Dixie Challenger and a Roger Dodger. So if by chance you happen to have to switch these things out, you can do that. Windshield's in pretty rough shape. It's covered with paint. We'll address that a little bit later. Interior's painted too, but we'll have to clean that up also. But overall, that's not in too bad a shape. Well, now we know what we're looking at. Let's go ahead and start with the body itself. We're going to go ahead and dip this in the embalming fluid, or as people who don't peruse the graveyard, citrus strip. And we're going to let this soak a little bit longer than normal just to make sure we get those decals off. But dip it in the citrus strip, give it a really good coat. Make sure you get underneath the body as well, especially if you plan on doing a color change. Or I like to do it because when I do a paint job or a restoration, I want to make sure all you see is the color that I'm putting on now. Let's go ahead and move on.
Meanwhile, back in the graveyard.
We got the body out of the citrus strip. This is in pretty rough shape. Now, initially I says, I wouldn't mind putting Spectre Flame on this bad boy, but it's in, like I said, it's in really rough shape. So we're going to go ahead and primer it up. And then, after we strip the body, we're going to try and polish it just to see what we can do with it. Now, you all have seen me polish before, but I'm using one of those abrasive discs that look like it's a Scotch-Brite pad. And you can get a big pack of those for like $15, and you get over 100 of them. So it's definitely worthwhile, but they only last approximately one car. So take that into consideration when you're buying these and using these. Well, it's not really working that well. The body's pitted really bad. We're going to have to do some primer on that bad boy. Now, if I went down and sanded a lot more and I could get down to it, but in this particular case, since I'm going to be using the red opaque, all I wanted to do was smooth it out. I didn't want to get it to a mirror shine like I was going to put Spectre Flame on it. But I bet you this car would look really bad with a really cool Spectre Flame paint job. Let's go ahead and work on the base. I leave the wheels on, the old wheels, just because that's what I do. And I'm going to put it in a mixture of Lime Away and water. A 50-50 mixture. And we're going to let that set approximately 3.5 to 4 minutes. Now, if you let it sit too long, like I've said in the past, it will turn the base black. So you got to watch it and be careful. Let's go ahead and speed this bad boy up. That's been about 3.5 minutes. Let's pull it out and scrub it down. We'll get that brass bristle brush in there and we'll scrub it down. Now, on really rough stains or paint or anything like that, you can get in there with a steel brush, but you got to be careful because you'll really scratch up that metal if you use that steel brush. That's why I use the brass one. I'll speed this up a little bit. You've seen me scrub the base before. Starting to look better. You'll always want to overdo it or overwork it or whatever, but that's looking a lot better than it did for sure. All right, let's rinse it off and move on. Here I'm going to take out the wheels. Now these old wheels here, I mean, they're in pretty rough shape. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that little bell to be alerted to future videos that come out. You're already here watching a video. You might as well be alerted when new ones come out. And it doesn't cost you anything, it's free. So please subscribe. Now the wheels in the front are the hollow kind with the axle that goes through the center of the wheel. And I know all the axles go through the center of the wheel. But this one here, you can see a hole on the outside of the wheel where the axle is. So we're going to try and switch that out with original equipment. I've got a donor car. In the back, it's got the cap style wheels. So what I think I'm going to do here is try and rescue the caps at least and put new wheels on it. And we'll see if we have to rescue the axle as well. We'll find out in a few moments. Here we've got the body, and like I said, I'm going to put down this base coat or primer coat with Tamiya Surface Primer. Now this is really good stuff, but man, those little cans are like 10 or 11 bucks. They're expensive for sure, guys, but they work. Now here is the windshield. We're going to dip this in Super Clean. Now I got a sample of the Super Clean. They sent me a big bottle of it, and I've been using it anyway. But the Super Clean, if you let it soak for a while, will definitely take that paint off. But we need to see what's underneath that paint as whether we can rescue the windshield or not. So we'll let that set for a while. So if you're going to give Super Clean a try, go ahead and do it. And there's today's tip from your Uncle Paulie. Give Super Clean a try. It's good stuff. Now also, it will help you remove the chrome off of plastic if you let it soak in a little dish or something, and I'll be doing something like that in a future video. Well, as you can see, the windshield's all cracked up, so we're not going to be able to use this. Let's go ahead and move on. Now we're going to go ahead and paint the body. Here I'm using some paint from Chroma Air, and this paint is available at spraygunner.com. This is their own in-house brand. They've got a really large selection of opaque paints as well as fluorescent colors, and in the near future they're going to have metallics and some pearls. So please check out the line of Chroma Air paints at spraygunner.com. Now the best part about the Chroma Air paints, folks, is that it's an acrylic urethane water-based paint. Okay, that is absolutely cool. And the really good part about it is that it's airbrush ready. As long as your airbrush has a 0.5 needle, because the medium is a little bit thicker and heavier, but man, does it cover. It covers fantastic, folks. So you don't have to put as much paint down, which again, in turn, saves you money. So please check out the line of Chroma Air paints at spraygunner.com and let them know that Diecast Graveyard sent you. Man, that's covering up absolutely sweet. I'm not going to have to put down much more paint. Now the other thing is, if you're in a hurry to put down another color, you can use your airbrush, just the air, to help dry this paint. Now, before you tape on it, I would wait a minimum of a half an hour for it to dry and start to harden up a little bit. I let mine sit a little bit longer, but that's just from experience. But it's a fantastic product. Like I said, I saved the caps off the old wheels, but we're going to have to replace the axle. The other one was pretty torn up. So I'm using this piano wire, and I squeeze the end to allow the cap not to come off, and I use these fence pliers to squeeze the end. Now I'm going to measure the axle in the base itself and mark it and see where I've got to cut the remaining part of this axle. So I put it right there in a slot and slide the cap style wheel over to the end. Using a Sharpie marker, I'll go ahead and mark it. So I see where I need to cut it. Pen doesn't want to play very well. There we go. Now it's working. You can see the little mark there that I made. Let's take it out and see if we can show you a little bit better. There we go. You can see the mark for sure. Now, when you're holding your thumb over the end of the axle, hold the axle itself. Be careful, because once you snap it, that axle can snap backwards and penetrate your thumb. Okay? Ask me how I know this. Make sure that you hold on to the axle itself and not try and support it with your thumb, because it will penetrate your thumb like a needle and you will bleed. All right? Take that as another tip from your Uncle Paulie. I just won't put that little voodoo doctor up there. All right, that fits perfect. Excellent. We'll glue that in place. Let's move on. I got the donor wheels in the front, and I'm putting brand new meats on the back, these cap style wheels that I got from the Redline shop. Now, I put the deep dish wheels on. I really like those. So check out the wheel selection at the Redline shop. Anything I can't get from the Redline shop, I'll go to Spray Gunner. Here's all the pieces. There's the body. That looks really good after I clear coated it. Here's the base. We cleaned that up as best as we could for how worn out it was. Here I found a donor engine from another show-off. Brand new windshield. That looks good. And I switched out the interior. The other one, it could have been used, but I got a better one, so I'm using that one. Let's put it all together and do our reveal. And this is the really rough car that I had. It's definitely been loved by a child. Who knows, maybe even a really poorly graphics designing adult that's had several beverages. But we took the car apart, we stripped the body, we primered it up to fill in the little pits and things. We covered it up with that wonderful Chroma Air paint from the spraygunner.com folks. We clear coated it with clear from the Redline shop. We put brand new wheels on there from the Redline shop. And folks, it's been a pretty rough go at this one, but you know what? I think you're really going to like the results here. And here's the final results. Look at that beautiful paint job with the clear coat on there. Man, I am so pleased with this. And one of my subscribers, Wes, this is your car, buddy, and this one looks fantastic. Now, if you happen to have a car that you want restored or cleaned up, get a hold of me. Just get a hold of me in the contacts and I'll answer it back. I read every single comment, I promise. Now, yeah, I take money for doing this too. But also, if you happen to have some other Redline that you want to donate to my channel, I'll take that in exchange for cash. So if you want me to do a restoration for you, whatever you got, let me know. We'll definitely work out something, because I'm always looking for the new projects to keep my videos going. Man, what a beautiful finished product. And this is going to go in Wes. His collection is going to be fantastic. Check out the folks at spraygunner.com. They got a complete line of airbrushes, paints, etc. This video was brought to you by the Redline Shop. The Redline Shop offers a complete line of decals, tools to take your car apart, put them back together, replacement hoods, replacement glass, those beautiful Redline tires, and of course, the world famous Spectre Flame paints. Fantastic products. The Redline Shop at www.redlineshop.com, where Redlines come to life. I want to thank the folks that are members of my Patreon team. These folks subscribe to my channel and they get to see videos anywhere from a day to a couple weeks ahead of time. Plus, I'm there for them if they need any questions answered for their hobby needs also. This is Paul from Diecast Graveyard. Have a happy holiday season with you and your family. Cheers.